about to risk it for some Chipotle.
No, they sent me a message on Uber Eats saying that it was free delivery. So
I'm about to download Uber Eats then. Okay.
Yo, they could deliver you the Corona though.
No. No, for real though.
Deliver your dad for free.
Yeah, right?
For free? He for free?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're gonna risk
Corona
for free delivery?
Anything for free.
Corona adds
Trust
flavor.
me.
It's cool.
I need
Guys,
I need something.
Yo, I think Moodle broke straight up. Moodle.
It broke?
Okay, I'm guessing by the volume.
Go check it out.
Can I move to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Here.
No, wait. Can you go back, please? I needed one more name.
It's not going to work, so I'm going to send you the link on by email so that you can see it. Apparently, it doesn't allow to have any of these fancy things. This shows you were the cherry tree from the beginning of the leaf bud and flower buds all the way through full development to the fruits. So I'll send you both of those by email. You're drawing again.
Dear God.
All right, so let me explain what you have here. This is parts of a fleshy fruit, and you have what you call your technical term.
A fleshy fruit.
Fleshy, not all fruits are fleshy. So we're going to go through.
I need a better
Fleshy fruit.
Okay, let me talk. All right. So we have technical terms. We have usual terms. These are the ones that they're commonly known by. So here at the top of this peach, we have a peduncle. That is the technical term for a flowering stem, if you remember. Fruits develop from flowers. The peduncle is also known as stalk. So when you are picking produce, when we can all get back out and do normal grocery shopping, anytime you pick a fruit, ideally you want to see this stalk attached still because it helps keep the fruit fresh for longer. Now, on the outside, all the way around the fruit, you have something called the exocarp. The other name for the exocarp is the skin. Now, once you get past that, from the exocarp, this nice, beautiful yellow-orange layer that we enjoy eating when we eat a peach is called the mesocarp. The mesocarp is otherwise known as the flesh. Inside, there you go, exocarp, mesocarp. Now, you see the peach pit. Now, this is an endocarp. No one is ever going to eat a peach and go ahead and not notice the endocarp there. If you try to bite through the endocarp, you're going to break a tooth. Now, the endocarp is otherwise known as stone. Endocarp. Endocarp itself is not the seed. Inside the endocarp will be the seed. This shows the seed without the coat, which is which is an additional layer of protection for the developing seed. Seed is also known as the almond. Ironically enough, the peach and the almond are very closely related. Okay, Okay, the peach and the almond are very closely related. The big difference is that if you eat a peach seed, you're going to be very ill. If you eat an almond seed, you're going to be quite happy. It's going to be a high protein level for you. That's because depending on what the species is that you're eating, the seeds can either be very, very nutritious or they can be very toxic. Keep that in mind. Not all seeds are edible. Now, fundamentally, when you look at this, you see the endocarp, the mesocarp, and the exocarp. So, exocarp, again, mesocarp, flesh, endocarp, stone. And inside the stone is a seed. Fundamentally, when you complete both the endocarp, the mesocarp, and the exocarp, you end up with something called pericarp. Pericarp. And down at the bottom here, you can barely see it, but at the other end from the stalk, you see the style. This was what allowed for this fruit to develop. So you have the stigma, the style, this is the ovary, and this is your peduncle.
Or what?
This is three. At the bottom of the page,
I've heard of that before.
bottom of the page, there's a little indentation. That little indentation is where the style would have been. So I need everybody to draw that.
Will do.
Let me grab my color pencils. I forgot
Bro,
the
I'm just
drawer.
using my pencil.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. I'm not gonna go there.
Who
I'll
is
color
typing
it
so
in later.
viciously?
I know.
Right here. My bad.
That keyboard
I can
likes
feel
it, bro.
that in my soul.
Dang.
Yo, it's because I type too fast. Yo, I
Pause.
type viciously.
It's time to draw.
Yeah,
What
my
are you doing?
peduncle looks nice.
Bruh, that sounds like you mean it in a different way.
Uncle?
No.
Yo, take it how you think.
He goes.
I
"Is
put
this
Dunkel.
just
That is
Walking
freaking
up-
Look, will be
hilarious.
looking nice. What that peduncle do?
I hate the both of you.
We are drawing. I promise.
I'm gonna start saying that a lot.
What?
No, it's freaking
Only-
hilarious.
Only I'm gonna know what's going on, but it's all good.
All right, questions. Everybody done on this?
No,
No,
man.
hold on.
Er,
Except Dave too.
Okay, all right.
been done.
Oh, okay, Dave.
Flexing on us.
Yeah.
Almost done. Enzico? Is that how you say
Yo,
it?
Jake, we about to do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah. Facts.
Yo,
Wait,
but it's
no.
gonna be worse.
How many different classes do most of you have? 3 or 4?
Or
4. But this is the only one that's like, like a huge FaceTime.
Fine, and then 2 in person.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wait,
but
when
the
is
rest of
our
my
next
classes are
class?
online.
When is our next class?
your
Wednesday,
next
I
class is
guess.
on Wednesday when it would normally be.
Okay.
And there shouldn't be any glitches by that time. No promises, though. We'll work through this video.
Yeah, this fruit does look interesting.
Oh wow.
My mom does not let me like go outside.
yo, same. Yo.
Super cautious.
I'm an adult, and she's like,
Yeah, stay
you
safe.
can't go out.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I mean,
She
they
said
went
you're
to
not bringing
parties.
coronavirus to the house.
How many
Okay,
coughs? She's like, you got the virus?
no, on a separate note, many of us could be infected and not even know it for 2 days.
Yes.
No, most people don't have.
And some people
The
have
reason
no symptoms, and some people end up having serious problems and even dying.
I've
Okay.
seen a lot of
Hashtag
people my
asthma.
age die from it.
Yeah, people with asthma, like,
I have asthma and I have a really bad immune system, so I'm not going outside.
yeah, like my grandma,
That is
like,
why.
she doesn't want us to go to my grandma's house.
Don't. I live with my grandparents, and like every time I leave the house,
Yeah, we
I'm
can't go see my grandma.
bring something back.
This sucks.
Really scary.
It feels like a movie.
I feel like I'm not as panicked as I should be, just because like I adjust
am
super
not as
super
panicked.
easily to
Okay.
things. So
One, there's a huge difference between being cautious and being panicked. I would encourage none of you to be panicked. It doesn't help anything, and it just exacerbates things. So cautious is reasonable.
Tere,
But the
But all be cautious.
government is responding. Like we just have like no control over what's happening. Like we can only control like what we do. But
Did you see all the spring breakers in Florida?
yeah, I did.
Oh.
People in Florida are a different breed, man.
Yeah, but most of the spring breakers
Yo, but
are
they
from
weren't
New
from
York.
Florida though. They were
Exactly.
tourists.
That's a huge L.
I get it, it's spring break and you want to have fun,
F
but
in the chat, boys.
there's a bunch of frat boys.
F.
Exactly.
Imagine how many of them are going to be sick or bring it home to people they can.
Exactly. A
Most
bunch of
them.
Kyles and Chads who just want to party.
But they don't care.
Kyles and Chads.
Like,
There's no
come
Kyles or
on.
Chads in our class, right?
Boys with wavy hair and snapbacks. Like, come on.
Oh
It's
god.
them. They gonna get sick.
Cooking, it smells so good.
There's nothing like mom's cooking.
Oh, she's cooking. I can't. I'm hungry now.
I've not
Well,
eaten. I should
that's
probably
okay.
do that.
Okay.
Makes
We
sense.
done?
So carb and
Yes.
pericarb. I'm writing the last little thing.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right.
I'm almost done. Extra card.
My ideal is this is a short unit, but a lot of drawing. I'm hoping to get this done today so we can move on to the next one.
Yeah. Style. I took a picture just so I can color it in later, but I'm not coloring.
That's fine.
Section of a peach. I'm done.
I did want you physically drawing this because I find when people don't, they don't remember it very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I have tried it both ways.
There it is. My mom walks in my room and always like accidentally touches my guitar and she freaks out.
Are we good now?
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All good.
All right, now we talked about fleshy fruits. So there are a number of
Same.
different types of fleshy fruits. There's simple fleshy fruits, aggregate fleshy fruits, and multiple fleshy fruits. I'm going to go over some of these. You're going to be doing the drawing. All right, so these are simple fruits. These are dry simple fruits, which means that mesocarp, that nice fleshy part that we like when we eat peaches, is actually dry when the fruits are mature. So they come in two different types. One is called indehiscent, which means that they don't spontaneously open up when they're mature. First one
Are we
here,
drawing this?
yeah, you're drawing these.
Oh,
All of them? Oh my god.
All
Okay.
seven. All seven.
it's a lot of flesh.
Yeah.
A whole lot of flesh.
Okay.
Adam.
So
I'm like me.
the
Dear
sunflower
God.
seed, guys, the sunflower seed is something called an achene. Achene is a single-seeded fruit, does not open when it's mature. All of you have probably eaten sunflower seed.
Yep.
Now, if they're not already shelled for you, you have to shell them yourself because they will never unshell themselves. This is a corn kernel. A corn kernel is an example of a grain. Now, some grains are more obvious in terms of this. The corn kernel, the exocarp is so closely oppressed to the mesocarp and endocarp that you don't realize it, but that is a single grain. That is a single simple fruit. This showing a maple seed here is called a samara. This is a two-seeded samara. Most samaras are one-seeded, but the maple seed is a two-seeded one. So here you can see these wings. These wings allow the maple seed to be able to float along and wherever they need to grow.
Nuts.
So achene, grain, samara. The last one here is a true nut. Many of the things that we think of as nuts aren't actually nuts.
That's
This
nuts.
is a true nut. So here you can see, again, you don't see a acorn spontaneously opening on its own. So this is a true nut. Now,
I'm so
down
immature.
below, so none of these split spontaneously. Down below here, you have ones called dehiscent. Dehiscent means literally splitting at maturity, whereas the indehiscent ones primarily have one seed. Dehiscent fruits tend to have more than one seed. So I don't know how well this shows up for you. This is a follicle. This is a example of a seed pod, a fruit, that opens on one side only. When it opens on one side only, I think it's not opening as well as I'd like it. When it opens on one side only, you will notice that tail ends of these, or the feathers, similar to what you would have for a dandelion seed, are located to the bottom, and then the seeds themselves are stacked up all the way along to the top. Here you have a legume. Your peanut is a legume. You eat a lot of peanuts. You know that peanuts typically can have one, two, or on rare occasions, depending on the species and culture, three seeds in them. Other legumes can have 15 or more seeds in them. So it depends on what you have. So you're drawing a follicle that opens on one side only. A legume, which if you open up your peanuts and shell them yourselves, you know they open up on two sides. Again, there are a number of different legumes, including a tree legume called a locust tree. And the last one here is called a capsule. And the example here You can see that they have multiple carpels, and sometimes they split on a seam, sometimes they split between seams. And this is called a capsule. Many plants have capsules. And then there are other examples of simple dyke fruits, things like sisyphus and others, but these are your major ones. Your cane, your samara, your nut, your follicle, your ligule, and your capsule. Dry fruits tend to be in one of these 7 categories. There are other categories. So when you're all done drawing this, let me know.
Okay. I'm thinking like that down. No, I wanna break your heart.
Yo, I was just thinking of it.
I know that song is so good. I was singing it the other day. Damn,
I missed Emily Lotta.
she's still there.
I know, I just haven't listened to her in forever.
I just listened to her old album from when I was like little. The one called "Don't Forget" is so freaking good.
Dude, that will never not make me cry.
It's so freaking good. And she was like 15. She was
Oh
so
my gosh,
small.
these pictures are so tiny.
I know. I'm trying. You can make it big.
I gotta zoom
bigger.
in all the way.
No, just press like the upper right corner. There's a little thing that you can make it big.
No,
Like,
I did,
yeah,
but it's still like it's still kind of
oh,
hard to
mine is
see.
huge.
Yeah, mine is like full screen, but the pictures are still kind of small.
Oh,
The ones at the bottom. What the hell is that supposed to be?
mine is big. I don't know. I'm using my stepdad's computer and it's really big.
I got an itty bitty phone.
Oh,
Okay, go. You can't see all of it readily. There is a scroll bar at the far right of your screen. You can see the whole thing.
yeah. It's because she has a
So
phone.
if
That's
it's
why.
not all showing on your screen because it's a little bit large. Just press that scroll bar and it goes all the way down to the bottom.
The third image, the one that's black and white, looks like a pair of shoes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes. So this one makes like a little parachute.
Well, I am so bad at drawing in class.
I'm actually doing okay.
This is how my drawings are looking like so far. Kind of ugly.
It's a little abstract.
It's all right.
You can understand it. It's fine.
Abstract.
They work.
Little abstract.
Yeah, abstract. Look, my abstract fruit.
I think that's the nicest
Oh
insult
yeah,
I've ever
that's
heard.
I got you.
Jake.
Jake is hilarious.
Yeah.
He said yeah.
Self-centered. I'm kidding.
Well,
Okay.
Ah, it's good to have that confidence,
that's
bro.
Okay, everybody's talking a lot. I should assume you're done.
Oh
I'm
no,
drawing and
no,
I'm
talking
done.
at the same time.
We're having a class discussion.
That's true. That's true.
it
They're good.
do be true.
No, I'm still drawing, but
Yeah, I'm still trying to get this together.
alright, like,
So many little details.
well, I'm not getting too detailed because I could fix that later before submitting.
Embryo.
Honestly, I'm such an introvert, and this class online has me like talking a lot and stuff, which is weird.
Yeah, I never talk.
Who?
Me.
Okay, Diana.
Fine.
I talk to people that I know.
Okay.
Never hear like you may hear me laugh, but like you will never hear me talk.
Son. Ronaldo.
Oh, what is
I
that?
always hear you talking.
Yeah, to people I know.
She does.
Oh, I talk to people that I know.
Okay.
Always.
I'm sure
I
that
don't have
you're
a good
having a
voice.
great time right now.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Oh my gosh, this last one though. Looks like
Yeah,
a
I don't know how
bug.
to draw that. My cousin said that I look like a weirdo in a green room. He said, "Turn on your lights like a."
Okay.
He goes, he goes, "Turn on your lights like a
looks
regular
great.
person." So I like my
Yeah, green is cool.
No,
Is
he's bullying me. He's like, you
And
look like
easy
a
being
weirdo.
green.
you bully him back.
Bruh, that's your cousin. It's your job to bully each other. Come on.
Exactly. Get on it.
He's older
He's
than
just
me, so he
jealous of
wants
you.
me to
Like,
call him uncle.
So
Yeah.
listen. No.
Dude, you gotta bully your cousins. That is your duty as a person.
Second cousins? I don't have any actual cousins, and I only have second cousins. Never mind.
What?
No, never mind. Never mind. My mom's sister has like 5 kids. I'm stupid.
You gotta bully your cousins. My cousin threatened to put me in the oven once.
The thing is
It's
that
part of life.
mom had me really, really young, so all of my cousins are children.
wait, I thought you were
Facts.
23.
Mm,
That's young.
Okay, but
Most of
my
my
mom
cousins are
had
like
me
7.
really young,
no.
and my cousins are literally
my
like
parents had me when they
10.
were older, so all of my second cousins are like young, and all of my cousins are like grown adults.
Really?
Facts. My cousins are either kids or like 30.
Yeah.
My
I'm the
second
oldest
cousins
cousin.
are closer to my age than my actual cousin because my mom had me really young.
Yeah, I'm usually like one of the few teenagers
I
at
grew
like
up with all of
family
my
events.
second cousins, and then when I grew up, I had cousins.
Are we good?
Yeah, sure. I took a
She
picture.
said,
So
I took a picture. So.
I need another paper.
All right. You don't need to draw these.
Yay.
A collective sigh.
Oh man,
thank you.
All right. You really
I want to draw.
So we looked at dry fruits. These are fleshy, simple fruits. Okay.
Very fleshy.
Here is where at least
Hella
part of the
flesh.
carb
Ooh,
is
oranges.
soft and fleshy. So the first one that we did, the peach, is actually called something called a drupe. And drupes are one of the more common types of simple fruit.
Droop.
This is where, and you can probably work this out, the endocarp is very distinct from the mesocarp. Again, going to the whole idea of if you eat a peach, you're not going to miss the pit being there. You're going to
I
see a
can't
very
draw
distinct.
them.
Okay. The next group is called a berry. There are 3 primary types of berries. The endocarp and the mesocarp on berries tend to not be very easy to distinguish one from the other. Now, the grapes here, these are known as true berries. The definition of a true berry is something that has a thin skin and a soft overall pericarp. A pepo, this pumpkin here is called a pepo berry. A pumpkin is actually a berry. It has a very, very thick skin.
Really?
Yes,
Take a
pumpkin is
screenshot of that.
one of the largest berries in the world.
That's odd.
Hesperidium berries are like this orange here. The Hesperidium berry has a leathery outer skin. It has juice sacs. Now, the juice sacs develop from epidermal hairs, and the hairs fill with this small amount of juice. This is an orange.
The juice sack?
Yes, the juice sacs and a leathery skin helps tell you that you're looking at a Hesperidium berry. Again, all 3 of these are berries. Now, we see one down here. This is an apple. The apple, the pear, and the quince are all pome fruits. And the pome fruits are distinct from many other fruits in that the fleshy parts, the part that we eat, develop not from the ovary, but they develop from the receptacle surrounding or below the ovary. And I can put quince there. But now, moving on from there. These
Ooh.
that we typically call aggregate fruit, typically berries are not true berries at all. These are not simple fruits. Berries are simple fruit. These are aggregate fruits because each of these fruits develops from a single flower that has multiple pistils, and each pistil, when it develops, when it's pollinated, develops this little fruitlet. So that's a fruitlet, that's a fruitlet. Each and every one of those, whether it be a blackberry or a raspberry, develops from a single pistil. They join together because as they develop into a aggregate fruit composed of many little fruitlets.
What's a pistil?
Here, your strawberry is more complex even than the blackberry or the raspberry. Oh, can you tell the difference between a black raspberry and a blackberry?
Probably not.
Yeah, because one is red and one is brown, like
Wait, what?
dark.
Wait, wait.
A
the
blackberry
difference
and a
between-
raspberry.
Oh, I'm stupid. Yeah, absolutely.
A black raspberry, when you pull it off, when you harvest it, it will have a hole in the top. Okay. A blackberry will always be
You don't
solid
say.
at the top. Okay, so you can always tell the difference between the two, even if they look identical otherwise. So you always look for the hole at the top. This strawberry is even more complex. So we know that this is an aggregate fruit, and each one of those is an expanded fruit, but inside there, your strawberry seeds are actually achenes. So you have an achene within an aggregate fruit. These two are multiple fruits. So the multiple fruits in this case are fairly straightforward. When you look at a pineapple plant, you have a peduncle coming up through here, and then you have your new groups of leaves at the top. Each and every one of these little sections here is a single fruit that developed from a single flower on that peduncle. As they mature, they end up coalescing together to make a single fruit. This is called a
I
multiple.
thought there was a mini plum.
So each of those is a single one. Now, if you eat a pineapple, you can eat the flesh, obviously, but you can also eat the core. The core just has a different flavor, has a different structure. It's more watery, it's more fibrous. Now, coming over here, you have a fig. The fig is a unique type of fruit in terms of it usually, other than the fertile ones, has a little wasp that comes in here, and all the flowers are internal, and the internal flowers are basically pollinated by that wasp, and then you go ahead and have the fruit develop, and then finally it turns color, indicating that you're ready to harvest it. Now, where I used to live, I had my own fig tree in my backyard, much warmer area. And you can always tell when you will be able to harvest these by, if you try tugging on these and it doesn't come off easily, then it's not right. If you really force the issue, then what will happen is when you harvest it, there will be a white latex at the bottom here. That means that fig is not ripe and you shouldn't eat it. When it's fully ripe, there will be no white latex coming out of the bottom end. These are annual fruits, and in spite of
another fruit for you, Jake.
These are annual
fruit.
Okay. These are annual fruits. This is a tomato. A tomato is a fruit. A squash is a fruit. A fruit. The definition of a fruit is basically any part that develops from a flower. So anything that develops from a flower is a fruit.
Avocados
melons are fruits. Many of our vegetables are fruits. And here we have ground cherries, and these are very, very, very good to eat. And basically, they have this little papery shell here, and the papery shell, when you pull it back or when it opens up, you'll see a little yellow berry here. It's fairly edible, a little bit subacid in flavor.
I never seen those before.
You'll probably see them in stores. These are biennial fruits. Not all fruits are edible. Biennial fruits. This is an example of a carrot inflorescence and the fruits on it. Those are not edible. Those are actually poisonous. You can have apple trees and you have pear trees that produce alternate years. So hence, even though many of them are annual producers, those particular cultivars are biennial producers. Some of them are actually very good. It's just that they're not commercially viable. Now, we have this very lovely basket. It's not letting me scroll. We have this very lovely basket, right? Everybody likes fruit, right?
Yep.
Love fruit.
All right, we have this very lovely basket. Now, I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. There is one fruit in there that it should not be there. One type of fruit in there should not be in there. Now, any of us probably welcome that particular basket on our doorsteps, especially right now. But
hell no, I wouldn't.
Is it the onion?
No.
Is that
The onion? That's a
Is that what that is? Wait.
That's a
That's
plum.
not an onion.
The
That is,
thingy at the bottom.
That's
The purple.
Is
a.
that a plum?
Is that a
All right,
radish?
no.
What is
Plum.
it?
this is
Cantaloupe.
a, this
Let
is
her
a,
tell you.
this is a fig. This is a kiwi. This is a cantaloupe. This is a banana.
One that looks like
These
an
would be
apple.
plums. Those would be apples. That would be pineapple. More plums. I can't
We
see.
don't want the fig in there. Get that out.
You don't like the
What
fig.
are figs?
What?
Do you have any idea how precious fresh figs are?
I don't
What
like
even
them.
are
Figs.
figs?
I have them. My dad grows. I don't like maybe I haven't had one in a while, but like
What's
my dad
fig?
grows them. Like a straight up fig. I don't know. They taste kind of weird.
What's that?
A fresh fig is very different from a dried fig.
I've
Yeah,
never
yeah, I've had fresh
that.
figs. They taste
They're
interesting.
both nasty.
Very watery. Luscious.
Like fig
It's
Newtons.
a fig.
Fig.
Okay.
Newton snack.
Besides that, second. All right. How
Let's get
many
some Newton.
people believe that the banana is going to be the one?
Nah,
I have-
bananas.
I don't know.
I guess. I
Yeah.
guess
We gotta
bananas.
keep banana
Yeah.
in there.
I'm gonna go with the banana.
Ruining everything. Who wants it?
Why are we voting the banana
No,
off the island?
That's not it.
I don't know.
Bananas aren't that good, okay?
The banana.
Bananas.
They're
We burned
okay.
them all. We don't know who touched them.
Great.
Oh, that's true. We'll get the whole basket out. Trick question. I
what
like how you
about-
I
think.
don't know who. We don't know who touched
How
them,
many
man.
think the fig's the problem?
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Okay. Cantaloupe. No.
Cantaloupes are disgusting.
Plums.
I disagree.
I never had a candle on whatever that is.
I think it's the green ones that are really nasty though.
Okay. You
Plums are
think the
great.
pineapple's the problem?
Nope, pineapples
like-
are perfect.
I don't
No.
like pineapples.
Pineapples are
All
perfect.
fruit.
All right.
Pineapple is good for you.
Guys,
I
What
don't
about
like
it?
pineapples.
the problem is the apple.
Really?
Apple should
What's
be
wrong with the apple?
Oh, wow.
That's an anime betrayal right
The
there.
apples are high ethylene producers,
thought.
which means they overripen and rotten anything they're with. So if you're actually trying to ripen something quickly, you can put an apple in there. If you're trying to keep them from ripening, you keep the apple as far away from everything else as you can. So that's one of the little tidbits you can take with you. Now, there's something called individual fruit morphology, and we know that morphology is based on structure, right? Some of these are a little bit dicey in terms of throwing them in there. So here you see a citrus tree being shaken very, very heavily so that it can release its fruit without having to have them hand-picked. Not all fruit can be done that way, but this one is, and you can see how it's coming along in there. And it's going by conveyor belt and everything, and that will be processed. So many different types of fruits can be processed this way, and even if they aren't, they can go ahead and go through a computer analysis on a conveyor belt, and they can detect which ones are suitable for which uses and which ones are off types that can be used for other things other than whole fruits or vegetables.
I thought that was a broken house.
That looks nasty.
All
Oh,
right.
what is
Isn't
that?
that
What
a
are we looking at?
potato?
What
Those are
in the Jesus
potatoes.
Lord is that?
This
Oh
one-
my god.
Hey, guys, technically,
Eggplant.
this is not a fruit. Technically, this
I
is
hope not.
this is
Like a disease.
but these are purple potatoes. And
Ooh, I
purple,
love potatoes.
Look like
purple
chlamydia.
potatoes are actually highly nutritious for you.
I heard they are.
Okay, and here below we have a white strawberry. Now this is
Albino strawberry.
a fully white strawberry. It's fully mature. It's edible. You can eat it. How many of you
What a
think?
outfit.
Okay, of these two options, how many of you think this is more nutritious than this?
The potatoes are more nutritious. I
Potatoes
think.
are more.
Potatoes.
Because they have richer colors. So any
What? But that's all. But
That strawberry looks like it tastes like
Guys,
nothing.
okay. Technically, anytime you have a high level of pigmentation within a fruit or vegetable that you're eating, you have a higher nutrition level. So I want you to consider that anytime you're selecting for this. Also, fruit color can be an indicator of ripeness. Not always. Growing up, almost everybody had red apples. Now you have Granny Smith apples, which are green at maturity. So color's not always, but often for a given cultivar it can be. And it can also indicate whether or not you have a disease or pest problem in terms of yellowing where it shouldn't be yellow or browning where it shouldn't be. Now, this is another part what you can submit on your assignments. And at the end of a unit or at the end of the class session, whatever, may just go ahead and be more beneficial for you to lump everything into document or one PDF file or whatever, submit it all as one thing. This is a fruit texture survey. And there are no wrong answers, but I need everybody to do this. And what I want you to do is there are 7 terms over here: crisp, soft, firm, stony, smooth, dry, and succulent. Now, next to each of those words, I want you to write those words on there. I want you to write the first fruit that comes to your mind. What is
For
crisp?
each one?
Yes, for each one. What is crisp? What is soft? What is firm? What is stony?
Okay.
What is dry?
Guys,
What
don't
is
shout it out. I want to actually think about it.
it should take you like
Crisp.
less than 5 minutes to do this. So I'll give you 5 minutes to do this, okay?
Crisp.
Do we have to write it down?
Okay.
Yes, you're writing this down. This is part of your submission for the day.
Oh, okay.
Crisp. What the hell's what's a crisp? What is crisp?
Potato chips. I don't even know what succulent means, so.
Like
Succulent?
Like
Like
Succulent?
I think like
Some-
really juicy.
Oh,
yeah. Something you can suck on.
that vocabulary word.
Y'all are stupid.
It's true.
What about peduncle?
Hmm?
Perduncle.
Peduncle.
I'm so
What are you
done with that
saying,
word,
Laura?
man.
I'm just getting started.
Oh my god.
Jake, you're having too much fun with this word.
Nah, I really am.
Had so much fun with this class in general.
I named my first son Peduncle.
Have you
No, don't do him like that. Don't do him like
Bro,
that.
what do you mean do him like that? That's
There's
a
no
gift.
crispy
Do it,
fruit.
man. Do it.
That's an
Oh,
honor.
Oh wait, there is.
Firm. A firm fruit? I guess a pineapple.
A pear.
Oh, I don't
wouldn't-
like pears.
Wouldn't
I don't eat pears.
wouldn't a pineapple be more crisp because of the outlining
No, I think
of
of,
it?
I think of
An
apples.
apple.
when
Not
they're
crisp
crisp.
apple.
Like crunchy.
Apples are
Stony.
crisp.
You ever have like a banana
But
chip?
but an apple would be
Stony.
more smooth, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but
No,
when you bite
pineapple,
an
but it's
apple,
like-
it's
Apples,
crisp.
apples give you that. It's crisp. It gets.
The
It's
Yeah.
succulent. That could be
I'm saying
succulent.
like a
whatever.
peach. A peach.
That could be
I
a
would say it's
grape.
kind of succulent.
I put peach for
put
soft
Julie
because
mango
it's so
like a
squishy.
mango.
Stony?
Dry fruit.
Oh shit! I guess a
Dry.
pineapple is stony then.
No.
Crisp.
Firm? Okay. I'm gonna put pear for firm.
Yeah, I put pear for firm.
Bananas.
Even like pears. No, I put a pineapple for stony because, like, you know, the outer
Stony?
layer of a pineapple
Oh, that was for
Ooh.
firm.
thing. You know,
Watermelon.
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 I'm gonna put it for both.
Smooth. Watermelons are smooth.
Yeah, that's what I
What's
did
smooth?
for.
I'm gonna put watermelon for
Watermelon.
smooth.
Put a plum for smooth.
I don't eat
Okay.
plums like
Have
that.
you guys had like miniature plums?
No, aren't those like grapes?
Oh, I have
That is
figs.
Ugh.
I
gonna put
bought miniature
figs
plums.
for
They're so
dry.
tiny. They're called they have another name, but they're technically miniature plums. They're so good.
Figs dry.
All right,
And
everybody
they are
has
very
Stony.
stony.
that, right? Good.
I don't know.
No.
I need dry and
Wait, go
stony. I
back.
don't know what to do. So.
Yeah, where do we put the assignments though?
I don't know what to put for dry.
I still
Like,
find
what-
it. I'm all moodled.
Put
Put an
banana.
assignment folder on Moodle.
Okay.
You hit like core stash.
What's a dry fruit? I used to eat this dry fruit. I used to eat this dry fruit when I was back in my country, but I don't know the name of it.
All right. Now, when you
banana.
think dry, guys, when you think dry, it can also mean astringent or like real bitter and makes your mouth pucker.
I guess
What the
banana.
What the hell
I
is
don't know.
stony?
Versus
I put
Stony.
pineapple for stony because like the outer layer of the pineapple, you know.
I know a fruit that I could do.
I see a lot of interest
Dragon fruit?
sometimes. I will tell you almost inevitably, you know what everybody puts for crisp?
Does
Apple?
anybody know
Apple.
this fruit?
Apple.
Does anybody know this fruit?
Apple for
A
crisp.
fruit.
Okay.
This. It's like a tropical fruit. I used to love
That
it.
looks like really long grapes.
No, it's really small. It's called bua or something like that. I don't know.
Yep.
Bua. I used to
Alright,
eat that in DR.
Yes. Yes.
Huh?
Yes. Okay.
Really, really sour.
Okay. Here's some small fruit size. So here's a fruit. That's a seed. That's an aquatic fruit. Here is a pumpkin,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
your pumpkin weighs over a ton.
That's disgusting.
What?
Time a couple of years ago,
Yo, that's thick.
this was
Thick
the
with 3
world
C's.
This was at one time the world record. It is no longer. This one was 2009
They
pounds.
died.
They're now up over 2,300.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
I
this is
found the
a
name of it.
world record type thing.
Is the one to the left also a pumpkin? Oh, I
This, okay, I'm sorry. This is now 2,600. Got I updated
How
it.
does it even grow
This
that big? Is it
guy has,
artificially grown?
no, these are naturally grown. They
Oh
basically
wow.
take a single pumpkin vine that they develop from a seed of pumpkins that tend to be large. And so it had the genetic capability to be large. And then what they do is pumpkin vines usually produce several fruits. They basically remove every last flower other than the one that's the select one. And so this is 2,600 pounds.
Maybe you should. Okay.
And usually they're not usually grown for flavor or anything. So here's some
Oh,
fruit.
hello.
Guys, guess what a stony fruit could be? Coconut.
Now, from a chemistry
Wow.
point, if we were in class and any of you opened an orange up, the fragrance will basically circulate through the whole class. And it's based on an ester compound for oranges. It's based on this one called an octoacetate, which has that wonderful aroma. These are, this you don't
Is
have
it
to.
okay if I go to the bathroom? I'll be back.
No.
This basically tells you,
She just said no.
you can see the pictures of these
She said
different
no.
fruits that you're used to. And then along the side, you see a list of basic types of esters that go into these fragrances. So you can see that some of these have many, many different esters producing what we think is the typical fragrance for a given item. And there are other compounds that are effective as well. So here you see the different types of esters as well. And where are we at? Oops, we have. These are fruit variations, again, based on genetics and environmental conditions and any mutations that happen. Remember, everything has structure and function. The key functions of fruits are to protect the seeds until they germinate and to scatter the fruits and future plants far enough away from the parent plant that they are not competing. And this won't produce. But here you have a square tomato. How many of you want a square tomato?
I don't like tomato.
Okay.
What?
If you like tomatoes, how many of you would like a square tomato?
I would love a square tomato. Hit me up.
Make your
Awesome. Easier to slice.
Okay.
X.
So that is a square tomato. It was basically developed for the purpose of packaging. By being square, you can fit more units in, and it's more economical in terms of shipping. These are some fruit exudates and interactions, some changes through the growing season. And grapes are a typical example. Again, it's not allowing me to play those. I will show you. And here you see that at the beginning of development, a grape fruit will inhibit the growth of fungi and does not need to be sprayed. Towards the end of its ripening process, it will actually encourage fungal development and it needs to be sprayed. This, I think, is absolutely amazing. I wanted to probably end this tree. Oops. This tree was developed by an artist, and what he did is he had a farm botanical background, and he grafted on about 20 or more different types of fruits that were compatible onto one tree, and this will bloom like this. He designed it so it would bloom in this beautiful pattern. And all of those fruits are fully edible that he put on there. This guy has a family apple tree, and on that family apple tree, he has grafted 250 different cultivars of apples. So if you didn't like one apple on that same tree, you could get any one of these others. And here you have fruit setting period, volume of production, and size can be measured.
Oh my God.
And again, it won't allow me to do these, so I've got to figure out a different way to do it. These are heritage apples, apple descriptions and photos, analysis. You can see that sometimes fruits can develop within 1 year. This is a white oak acorn. These are red oak acorns. These can develop in 2 years. And these are some fruits that you have. Apples for food, caraway seed. This is a single-seeded ackeen. This is a caraway. Here you have staghorn sumac and this
I like it like this.
and this is your opium poppy. So you have medicine there. And these are basic steps in CTO. We're going to end now because we're over time, and I apologize for that. We will do better next time. Okay, I will see you
Okay.
on Wednesday.
I don't have any other class today, so that's okay.
Same.
Okay. All right. So we'll again make sure you complete all of your assignments from class today and post them in Moodle. And then we'll start up with the steps in C termination. I'll see what I can do in terms of getting you those URLs so you can view them.
Okay.
Mom brought
All
me
right. We'll see you
food.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sure. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Everybody don't die.
Bye. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
You
Make sure you
too.
cut these fruits for me next time.
Okay.
To have what?
A lot of people are leaving already. Damn.
Whatever seeds for me next time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Wait, what did you say about the seeds? I'm sorry.
Flowers, fruits, seeds, whatever you can have access to. Send
For
me
next class?
Yeah, send me an email indicating what you have available, and we'll see what
I
we.
have beans.
Okay. All right. We
Thank
good?
you.
All
Cool.
right.
Guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
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 I have food. Rice with chicken. Some.
Literally, I was cooking the whole time.
I'm eating
You
rice,
serious?
chicken
I'm very
with
serious.
fried sweet plantains.